Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. So today I'm going to take a look at the Transformers Legacy Evolution Leader Class G2 Toxitron. Let me know what you think of this figure in the comment section down below. Is it a pickup or a pass? Now let's take a look at the figure's packaging. So here we have the packaging. Starting at the very front, we have Transformers on the side, we have the Legacy Evolution logo. At the bottom, we have G2 Universe Toxitron in white text. We have two really cool artwork shots of Toxitron in his robot and truck modes. If we do turn to the top of the box, we have another Legacy Evolution logo as well. If we do turn to the side, we have two really cool close-up artwork shots of Toxitron in his robot and truck modes. And if we turn to the back, the figure transforms in 30 steps. We have several product shots showing off the robot, the truck mode, his accessories, and a really cool kind of repair-based station. And on the final side, we have half of the Legacy Evolution artwork. So if you do get another leader from the Toxitron collection, such as G2 Grimlock, you can actually put both boxes together and complete the artwork. And that is pretty much it for the packaging. So let's now get into the review. Here we have G2 Toxitron in his robot mode. Let's take a look at the details, starting at the very top with a head sculpt. There's some really nice red for the eyes, some silver for that main battle mask section, some more silver for the crest, some more green for those really cool kind of spike crest section as well, and some dark purple for the main helmet section. I do like all those little kind of ear kind of spike pieces on the side. I think that's a really cool detail that they didn't have to do. I do love all this gunmetal gray at the shoulder with some really cool circuitry detailing. I think that looks really nice. And these huge kind of booster, kind of like blaster sections at the shoulder. I think that looks really cool as well. And if we do turn to the side, this is actually the entire front portion of the truck with the really cool wheels done in glossy black and purple. And we do have the entire front grille section again painted in really nice glossy black at the top. I think that looks really cool. I love the tinted kind of pinkish purple windows at the chest. Looks really nice. You can store the matrix in there. That'll show off in just a sec. There's some more of that dark purple and black at the stomach region. Some more gray for the top of the legs and the biceps. Some more of that really cool bright greenish yellow for the forearms and some purple for the hands. There's some more of that really bright green for the front of the legs there with some more gunmetal gray, and we do have the wheels on the side. I'm actually really glad there are not mushroom peg. I think that looks really cool, and the design is actually really nice. I do love the glossy black and dark purple. And overall, I do have a complaint with the proportions, but this complaint really isn't specific to Toxitron, really just this design and this mold in general, because of course G2 Laser, Optimus Prime, and Scourge had that. I had that same complaint. Pretty much all three versions or variants of this mold had pretty bad proportions. As you can see, of course, the legs are really long, the arms are pretty short, and the chest is quite big. So I think they probably could have done a little bit better with that, but I'm not really surprised because, again, this is like the third version of this mold, so I really was expecting another, proportion problem. But turning to the side, overall, pretty good side profile. And if we do look at the back, overall, really well filled in. There is a bit of hollowness in the back of the legs, a bit of waffling, but as for the back of the arms and the backpack itself, really doesn't look that bad. You could call it a backpack, but I really don't, because, of course, it's just the top of the truck. I actually think it looks pretty cool back there. Of course, you actually do have the smokestacks done in gunmetal gray and the really cool tinted kind of pinkish purple windows. I really wouldn't consider that kibble or backpack, in my opinion. But now, for articulation, if you do have any other two versions of this mold, you know exactly what to expect here. So the head can look up and down, tilt side to side, look left and right. There is no articulation at the shoulder, but there is actually some movement with these panels here. This is really to accommodate the arm articulation. So the arms can move forward, back, out to the side. There is bicep rotation, there is an elbow bend, and there is also wrist rotation. So he doesn't really have ratchets at the shoulders. They're a bit clickety, but they're technically not really ratchets. They're sort of like small substituted ratchets because I think they were trying to be a bit cheap. As for, of course, the waist, there is a full functioning waist rotation all the way around. The legs can kick forward, back, out to the side. There is rotation at the top of the leg, and there is a knee bend to 90, and there is an ankle pivot to a pretty good degree. It would have been nice, considering this is a leader, to maybe add in a bit of filler plastic, but unfortunately they did not take that opportunity. And let me just quickly straighten him up, then we can actually get into the accessories. So he does have four. One I'm not really going to cover now because it's a blaster. You can technically get the blaster and remove it from the trailer and actually use it as a weapon for this figure. I typically leave it with the trailer, but of course it's your figure. You can do whatever you want. I typically really just display him with the sword and axe, and I leave the blaster with the trailer. That's really just my opinion anyway, or my ideal layout of the accessories. He does come with a matrix, so I'm actually pretty surprised about the entire deco or appearance of it. I was expecting it to be, maybe done in like that light green and like purple, but it's actually done in orange, which is a bit interesting, and also kind of sparkly. You can actually store this in the chest there, so you just open up this panel here, and there's this entire kind of slot section, and that can just store inside. Do I know if you can actually have the figure hold it. I really don't think so. You could probably maybe balance in his hand if you want to, but it might take some time. As for, of course, his other two accessories, the axe, I think, and this really cool looking sword. I do love this transparent green plastic they use for these weapons. You can actually display them in several different ways. You can actually combine them to form this huge weapon, which is an option. I typically don't store it that way, but it's an option if you want to. I typically actually store them separately. I think that looks the best. So for the sword, there's actually a specific way you actually have to put it in his hand, because there is a small little tab, and it's supposed to fit into this slot in the hand. I'm not entirely sure why they designed the sword this way, but you know, it's just how it works, so you have to do it that way or it won't fit in his hands. But you can store the sword in that hand, and the axe, I think it's an axe, in the other. And if you're wondering with the axe, no, it does not have that whole slot, you know, in tab system. You can put it in the hand either way you want, really does not matter. And I think that looks pretty cool in my opinion. And again, don't forget, there is a blaster that you can actually remove from the trailer. I typically don't. I usually leave it with that, but that's just my opinion anyway. But now for some comparisons. Here he is with his Wavemates cloud cover from the Toxitron collection, and his review is coming very soon on the channel. I think they look pretty cool side by side. And now for some mold comparisons, here he is with RID Scourge from the Legacy Velocitron Speedia 500 collection, another Walmart exclusive. And please do let me know in the comment section down below of all the 3 variants or versions of this mold so far, which one is your favorite. Of course, there is Toxitron, Scourge, or the G2 Laser Optimus Prime. I have to say, I'm probably going to go with Scourge. I can always get down for a really cool kind of Nemesis repaint. I think they look absolutely awesome with a really cool metallic blue, black, and kind of silver. I think this looks so cool. But that is just my opinion anyway. And for one final comparison, here he is with the original G2 Laser Optimus Prime, the figure that started it all. And that is pretty much it for comparisons and this mode. Let's now get down to transformation. So now for transformation, what you want to do is rotate at the waist all the way around. Then you actually can flip to the back, collapse the feet, the heel spurs as well, just like that. Then you can actually tab the legs together. You can flip out these panels on the knees and fold them up like that. And then go to the arms. You can actually open up this entire compartment here like that. Then you can actually rotate at the wrist, fold in the hand, and close that up. Then you can actually rotate at the bicep all the way around, so now that port is actually facing towards you. Do the same thing on the other arm. Just open up this panel here like that. It can be a bit tricky at times. There we go. Then you can actually rotate at the wrist, fold in the hand, close that up. Then you can actually rotate at the bicep, so that port is now facing it towards the front. You can actually flip these panels up just to get some added clearance and just hinge these out of their positions kind of upward like that. Then what you can do is actually open up this entire chest panel here like that, and then you can actually flip to the back, get the entire top truck piece, fold this out, and then collapse this piece in. Then you're going to get the head, tuck this back like that. Then you can actually hinge these entire truck pieces or kind of shoulder pieces all the way up just to get some more space. And then you can actually open up this piece here, and then you can bring these shoulders and arms back, fold these pieces down. Then you can actually tuck part of the chest panel in, and then you're going to fold this up like that. And then you can actually tab both shoulder pieces together to actually form kind of the front portion of the truck. So just tab that together like that. Then you can actually fold these pieces down like that. And then what you're going to do is actually fold these panels down like that. Then you can actually go to the back here, push the arms in to the back, push the arms in, and then you can actually push this entire assembly down like that. Just tuck all of this in into place. Then you can actually hinge this entire section in, and then get the legs, push them back. And as you can see, there is slots where the arms are and tabs on those panels actually folded out earlier. Just tab those into place like that. Tab those into place like that. Then the last step is you can actually bring out these kind of little oil canisters or little like compartments underneath. And there we have G2 Toxitron in his truck mode. Let's take a look at the details. Here we have G2 Toxitron in its truck mode. Let's take a look at the details. Starting at the very front, we have some really nice glossy black for this main grille section with some more black for those front headlights, with some really nice transparent kind of dark pinkish purple for the windscreen section or the windows, with some nice floodlights done in green with a really cool insignia done in purple on the top as well, with some nice gunmetal gray for the smokestacks and a little sculpted in ladder there on the side. I do like the sculpted in mirror as well, and the wheel design actually looks pretty nice, done in dark purple and glossy black, and I do like these little kind of compartments or oil drums on the side as well, done in gunmetal gray. And of course the same wheel design repeated at the back. There's 4 wheels in the back and 2 in the front. I'm not actually entirely sure if they're pinned. I know they're not mushroom peg, but that's really all that matters, and I think it rolls pretty well across the ground. And so of course you do actually have the truck bed back here, which really does not look that bad. Typically with figures that transform into trucks, or of course a figure that is Optimus Prime, usually the truck bed looks pretty bad. That's usually where they put all of the kibble, all the junk and panels, but overall pretty well compact and put away. There is a bit of a hole, but when you actually attach the trailer, you can barely even tell it's there, so that really does not bother me that much. And we do have the feet in the back. Again, really doesn't bother me because you can barely even tell. Typically, of course, you're going to actually look at it from the front, so that really does not bother me. So now for some comparisons, here he is with G2 Laser Cycle. His review is coming on the channel very, very soon. Here he is with Sideswipe. Again, review is coming very soon on the channel. And that's pretty much it for comparisons for now. I will have a mold comparison in just a sec after I take a look at the trailer. But before I do that, I do want to quickly show off the accessory storage. For the sword, there is actually 2 tabs on the sword and slots underneath the truck. So you can just store it like that in the back. I think that's pretty good storage. As for the axe sort of shield thing, never really knew what this was. Probably not as good because you can actually store it where the truck bed is, but do keep in mind when you actually do want to attach the trailer, you do have to remove this accessory. So it would have been nice if there was maybe like a secondary way to store this, because of course you can store it now, but you will have to remove it when you attach the trailer. And I think probably 99% of the time people are actually going to want that trailer attached. So it's a bit unfortunate you actually have to leave it off to the side. Maybe you could probably come up with some secret way that's not official by Hasbro, but it would have been nice if actually Hasbro maybe came up with a second way to maybe store underneath, or maybe they could use that space right there to actually store it, but unfortunately they did not take that opportunity. But how to store this is you actually fold this hinge in. There's 2 tabs there and slots where the truck bed is, and that will just store right into place like that. And there we have all the accessory storage. Of course, the Matrix is already in there, and the blaster is actually stored on the trailer. Of course, I typically start with that, but if you want, you can actually remove that and, use a few of the MechTech ports on the truck if you want to. Completely up to you. But let's actually quickly take a look at the trailer in its kind of repair bay base mode. Hopefully I can actually get it all in the shots. So here we have the sort of repair bay base mode. It's okay, of course, definitely not the, main focus or the main thing of this set or figure. Of course, most of the budget went into the Toxitron figure, so it's just an okay, base mode. This base mode is completely unchanged. We got the same thing with Scourge and G2 Laser Optimus Prime, so no mold changes or anything different. And also for accessory storage, you can actually store the sword and the axe with this if you want to. I'm actually not entirely sure if you can leave them in there when it's in its trailer mode. I really don't know. You probably will have to test that out for yourself. I might actually give that a chance sometime, but I do know there are several slots in here to actually store them in there if you want to. I typically actually leave it with the truck. That's just my opinion anyway. But it does have a little bit of a grabber arm, and of course the blaster accessory, which is removable, as I said before. And there is some articulation in the tower, and there's actually a bit of articulation in the grabber arms. So you can actually have him, being repaired, which is a pretty cool, fun little thing. I probably don't use this that much, but it's a nice, little bonus or kind of an inclusion. And I think it's pretty fun. And that's pretty much it for the base mode. So I'm actually going to quickly show how you can transform it into the trailer mode. So what you want to do is actually fold in the little claw, then you're actually going to open up this entire section and just hinge this up. And then you're going to get this panel here, rotate it around like that. And there is posts here and ports on the inside of these panels, as you can see, and that will just plug into place like that. And make sure you actually flip this in, and then of course you can plug those into place. And there we go. As you can see, of course, there is 2 tabs and slots on there, and that just tabs into place like that. And there we go. There we have the trailer, which overall looks pretty cool. Let's quickly take a look at the details. Of course, tons of really nice nut and bolt detailing with some really cool kind of tubing and wiring. I do love the leaking kind of toxic ooze or like toxic chemicals. I think that's really cool. We do have the accessory on top, which is quite nice. There's actually several posts for plastic pieces, which is really nice. So of course you can actually have the trailer, you know, exploding or being attacked, which is pretty cool. And we do have that same wheel design in the back, which overall rolled pretty well. And we have the bottom overall pretty plain, and the same details repeated on the other side. But of course, this is a trailer, so it's meant to attach to a truck. So again, as I said before, you do have to remove the axe accessory, unfortunately, and use that post-import system that we're used to. And there we have the full complete truck and trailer. And I actually have to say that looks really cool, quite long and a really cool looking piece. And overall rolls really well for how many wheels and how much stuff is actually attached to, you know, one thing. A pretty big piece, but actually looks really, really cool. And let's actually get into some of those mold comparisons now. So I'm actually going to have to try and fit all of this in a shot. So here he is with, you know, G2 Laser Optimus Prime, and I will bring his trailer in for comparison as well. And again, as I said before, no new molding for the trailer or the truck. They are the exact same thing, just of course a brand new deco. And I think they look pretty cool side by side. I don't think I'll probably be able to fit in all three in one shot, but of course I will move G2 Laser Optimus Prime off to the side and then I'll bring in Scourge. I was hoping to be able to fit all three trucks in and trailers, but I don't think I'll be able to do that, but I think they look quite cool. I think for the robot mode, my favorite of the variants or versions of this mold is Scourge, and for the truck mode, I think it might be G2 Laser Optimus Prime. A bit off and on between the versions of the mold. They're all pretty good. Really just a matter of preference of the deco you like. Let me know in the comments. Are you kind of mixed like me? You might like, you know, one robot mode over the other, but you might actually change your mind with the truck. Or you might be, of course, just, you know, straight on like you like Scourge's truck mode and his robot mode. Let me know in the comments. And that is pretty much it for that comparison. So let me just put that off to the side. That off to the side as well. And here he is with Scourge and his trailer. I think that looks pretty cool side by side. I do love the metallic blue paint apps. I think that's pretty cool. Probably my main complaint with this figure is I think they probably could have put some more details with the trailer. It was a bit too plain for me. You know, there's some really cool red and like flames on G2 Laser Optimus Prime's trailer. You know, there's some like toxic ooze and sludge on this trailer. It's really just silver and black. I think they could have used some more of that red and metallic blue just to make it a bit more interesting. But they look quite cool. That is pretty much it for the vehicle mode comparisons. Let me just put all of this off to the side, and then we can get into reverse transformations. Let me just remove this. So you're actually also going to want to remove the accessory underneath here, like that. There we go. And now for reverse transformation, you're going to fold in the little canisters here. Those will just tab into place like that. Then you can actually untab these sort of ladder pieces. There is a slot there and a tab on the, you know, figure or the main body of the truck itself. You're going to fold out the heel spur and the foot. And then you're going to hinge this section out, fold in the shoulder, the knee pads, excuse me, and then untab this. How this is tabbed into place is there is tabs on this leg and corresponding slots on this leg. Then you're going to actually hinge the arms out, then untab this section here. As you can see, there is tabs pretty much lining this entire section here and slots right there. And then you're actually going to pretty much get this entire waist section, hinge this out, pretty much completely extend it, and then you can rotate at the waist like that. And then you can actually split this top portion here like that. I'm actually gonna have to raise the camera so you can see what I'm doing. There we go. And then you can bring these panels out just for some added clearance like that, and just put these back into the position that we were used to like that. And then you can fold this entire assembly through. It can sometimes get stuck at times. It's a bit tricky. You just got to push it through. There we go. And then just fold out this panel like that, and that will tab into place like that. Then you're going to push the arm and shoulder from the back forward. Push that through like that. And then these panels here will actually tab in. There is tabs here and slots inside the chest, and those will tab into place like that. Then you can push the chest piece down, and then the arm and shoulder will actually kind of go into this little slot here, That'll tab in place. Rotate at the bicep. Do the same thing on their side. Tab the shoulder in. Rotate at the bicep. Push the shoulder back. Get these panels down. And then you can actually flip to the back. Get the head. Tab that into place. And then just get your nail in there and bring this panel out. And then you can close all of that up. And as for the last few steps, we just need to bring the hands out. So just open up these compartments and then just flip the hand out like that. Close that up. Open this up. Bring the hand out. Close this up. And that is pretty much it for reverse transformation. Let's now get down to the final thoughts. Now for the final thoughts for the Transformers Legacy Evolution or Leader Class G2 Universe Toxitron. If you don't know, this is actually using the G2 Laser Optimus Prime. That was one of the first leaders, a part of the Legacy line. I thought that figure was amazing. I thought the design was awesome as well. I thought it was a really good choice to use that mold for this character. Love the color scheme with a really cool, interesting shade of green. Definitely really works for that Toxitron name. Just really makes me think of kind of toxic chemicals and like ooze and stuff. Yeah, that really, really works. I love the dark purple for the wheels and the dark black for the actual rims inside the wheels. As for tolerance problems for both modes, I actually really don't have any. I think they definitely stayed consistent, of course, from the other two variants or versions of the mold. Of course, if you don't know, there was G2 Laser Optimus Prime, there was a Scourge, RID Scourge, and of course there was Toxitron here. And through all three versions or variants of this mold, there's never really been a change, you know, in tolerances or problems. I think they've all been pretty top tier leaders. As for articulation, I would say definitely worthy of that leader class name. Really good articulation, no complaints again as of tolerances, no loose joints. It would have been nice maybe if they thrown in some ratchets here and there, because you know typically with leaders they might throw a couple ratchets in. Unfortunately, I don't think there is none on this figure, but a very minor complaint. Of course, I was expecting that when I purchased this figure, because of course there is two other versions, so no surprise there. Really just a complaint for the mold in general. Some ratchets would have been nice. I do think the proportions are a bit off. Again, not a complaint specific to Toxitron, really just this, you know, design and mold in general. The arms are really short and the legs are really long, so maybe they could have fixed that a little bit better, but a very minor complaint. I do love the huge, big, beefy shoulders, of course, with the huge kind of missile pod stored in there. I think that looks really cool. Love the feature and design. Unfortunately, they're actually not blaster piece compatible. That would have been nice. They don't actually shoot missiles. It's mostly really just for appearance and design. It's a cool feature nonetheless. Again, it would have been nice if it had a blaster piece feature, but unfortunately it does not. As for accessories, he does come with the Matrix, which can store inside his chest. I do quite like that. Surprisingly enough, it's actually orange. I didn't know it was actually going to be that color. I was expecting like a green, you know, maybe dark purple color, but it's kind of a sparkly orange color, which is a bit surprising, but I think it works for this figure and this color scheme. It also does come with one sword, one sort of axe weapon. I never really understood if it was supposed to be an axe. It doesn't really look like an axe to me. It doesn't even look sharp. Definitely my least favorite of the accessories. He also does come with the blaster. That mostly comes into play for the trailer and base mode, but you can remove it, of course, so the figure can actually use that as a blaster. I typically don't. I typically keep it with the trailer. That's just my opinion anyway. You can display it however you wish. The shoulders, unfortunately, do not have articulation. Again, another situation where I was not expecting them to, because there's been 3 versions of this mold so far. This complaint really is, of course, just for the mold and how this figure was built in general, not really specific to Toxitron. Unfortunately, there's really no articulation and movement in the shoulders. They're pretty much locked into place. And also, speaking of locked into place, they are a bit loose at times when you're like posing and messing with the figure. They don't really technically tab into place. They kind of just use like friction with these like pins to keep them there. Most of the time they do stay, but they sometimes do kind of wobble and flap around. So it would have been nice if they actually tabbed into place. If you don't really understand what I'm talking about, it's kind of like the same situation with Leader Armada Megatron. His shoulders don't really tab into place. Most of the time they do stay, but like a tab or a slot or something would have been nice just to solidify the connection. Also, some articulation in the shoulders for this figure also would have been nice, but again, no surprise there because there's been 2 other versions of the mold, so I was kind of expecting that. Overall, I think this is a really cool figure. Highly recommend it. This is a part of the Walmart Toxitron collection line, so it is an exclusive, so best of luck in finding this figure. It is a repaint, there is no new molding, so I wouldn't say this is a must-buy for everyone. I know some people who don't do repaints at all. For me, I actually quite like repaints. There's actually been some times where I actually like the repaint more than the original, and you might actually find yourself like that. You might actually like this Toxitron figure more than the other two versions. Would I say that's for me? No, I probably wouldn't say this is my favorite version of the 3 variants so far, but it's definitely a really good repaint and a really good figure. Please do let me know in the comments section down below what do you think of this figure, and of the 3 variants or versions of this mold so far, Scourge, G2 Laser Optimus Prime, or Toxitron, which one's your favorite? I think if I had to pick right now, I think I probably like Scourge the most. I can always go for a really cool Nemesis repaint. That's just my opinion anyway. I really do hope you enjoyed this review, and I will see you next time.